Hello, my name is Keith Haswell. I'm a professional astrologer with 38 years experience in the business and 25,000 clients worldwide. It's my pleasure to welcome you to my website and to my teachings. Now, you've come to my website in order to get your horoscope done, and you are to be congratulated for being a believer in astrology, because science tells us that the planets can have no impact upon us, that astrology is a load of hogwash. And what they're not taking into consideration and what their instruments can't measure is the emotional level of energy and the emotional level of consciousness, and also the mental level of energy and the mental level of consciousness. So the religions of the world are all telling us that astrology is evil and the work of the devil and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of people in the world, the vast majority, who are atheistic in their thinking, or religious in their thinking, or scientific in their thinking, and therefore don't relate to astrology. But you're relating to astrology, and you are to be congratulated. Now, astrology works because these planets are living energy forms, and they are emitting ray energies into your reality and into your consciousness. Now, these planets are having impact upon you, and impacting upon you in three main areas of your life. The three main areas that you're concerned about is your sense of security, and that comes through financial security, but also emotional and mental security, that you're not under threat from within and also from outside of yourself. And then there's the area of relationships. You want somebody to love, and you want somebody who will love you in return. And this is a major area of your life, because without relationships, whether it's relationships with people that you work with, relationships with relatives and neighbours, relationships with friends, relationships with children, relationships with loved ones, relationships with partners and spouse, relationships with business associates and so forth. These are all relationships, and your relationships are where you have an opportunity to communicate and to express your love, and also to receive love, and with the intimates in your life to be known and to be understood. These are all basic urges. And then the other one, the third one, is to do with the job. Meaningful work is a very, very important part of our sense of self-esteem and value fulfillment. Now, these planets are implementing cosmic law. They are implementing the will of the divine, what you might say. God and Goddess have got certain plans for you, and those plans are wonderful to help you to become more of who you really are through a multiplicity of lifetimes that you experience here in a space-time rule set that we know as Earth. So it's very, very exciting when you start getting into astrology more deeply, on the aspects of the spiritual side of it, and the science of meditation and reincarnation. I've written 2 books on these subjects that I'm happy to share with you in printed format, sent to you by email, or audio format with my voice and backing mystical music to take you in and out of meditation time and time again, to help you to become more of who you really are. But what we're focusing on here is your horoscope, and what I'm going to be looking at is those 3 areas of your life: your security, your relationships, and your work and employment and business and career, meaningful work. Okay, so what we have is we've got the 12 houses of the horoscope are segments of your life. And the events and conditions of your life are fitted into these 12 different categories. So you've got the first house of self-initiated efforts, you've got the second house of security and finances, the third house of communication with those close to you like relatives and neighbours, the fourth house of the home environment and the family and those who share the home environment with you, and the fifth is the segment of children and entertainments and amusements, sports, and also the sexual side of life and romance before love, romance before marriage, romance before you get serious and so forth. Then there's the sixth segment, which is health and diet, and the way to keep yourself healthy is through meaningful employment, and that fits into that category as well, the job. Then there's the seventh area, which is to do with partnerships and spouse and those who are your close intimates. And then there is the eighth house of transformation and change within yourself and the area of death. Ninth house is higher education and travel and expansion of your consciousness through religious and philosophical studies and so forth, metaphysical studies. 10th house is ambitions and high achievements and career. 11th house is to do with friends and group social activities, other people's children. And the 12th house is the house of hospitals and institutions where you can have solitude and get it all together, introspect and reflect upon what you've learnt from the other 11 houses. So it's all very complex, but it's all also down to earth where you're living and where you're experiencing your life. Now, these planets that I'm going to be working on for you in this reading are Saturn, and that takes 2.5 years in its movement through the zodiac. As it passes through the houses of your horoscope, it takes 2.5 years in one house. And Saturn is implementing the law of economy. In other words, Saturn is going to be saying to you that there must be a usage of energy, emotional, physical and mental energy, must be used wisely and economically. Any misuse of that energy must bring a corresponding adjustment to your consciousness and awareness of that misuse. And so Saturn embodies that third ray of commerce and industry and business, and also practicality and the law of economy and the wise use of energy. And so as it sits in an area of your horoscope, it's going to have a different impact than what it will with somebody with another sign, with a different sign than you. It's in a different house of their horoscope than it is with you. And so you're going to be experiencing that for 2.5 years. Errors that you've made in the usage of energy over the last 26 years are going to come home to roost. And you're going to be able to learn during that time about using energy wisely and economically and practically, and planning your things out practically and so forth. This includes mental energy and emotional energy as well. So I'll be looking at Saturn for you and telling you what the impact of that is shortly, and I'll tell you a little bit about yourself as well. And then there's Jupiter. Jupiter embodies the second ray of love wisdom, and it is a beautiful planet in desiring to expand and to expand your consciousness and awareness to become more of who you really are. And it does this through love, it does this through relationships, and it does this through study, research and investigation, and it does this through education, and it does this through higher thinking and learning about God and Goddess's plans for all of us. And so Jupiter takes 12 months as it moves through a particular house of your horoscope. So it sits in a house for 12 months. So I'm going to be able to tell you what is Jupiter, what is the impact of Jupiter during 2014, and what you are experiencing now prior to moving into 2014 in your life through the impact of Jupiter. So it's sitting in one of your houses of your horoscope now, and I'll tell you what the impact is now, and also 2014 it's in a different house than what it is now. So I'll be able to tell you all about that, and how you can expand and grow and reach and stretch to become more of the giant that you truly are. And then there's Mars. Mars brings energy and will and sexual energy quite often into the area of your life where it's sitting, and it can bring conflict and tension and stress and anxiety and so forth. And I'm going to be looking at the movement of Mars in the first 6 months of 2014. It's sitting stationary in one particular house of your horoscope and introducing a lot of stresses and tensions into that area of your life. And so therefore you've got to deal with that. So this is what I'm going to be working on in your personal horoscope, which I'm going to be looking at shortly. And it's nice to have you here to be able to talk with you and to share with you some of my understanding about these things. And I do this for you free of charge because I want to be of service. I've seen the impact and the benefit that thousands of people have had through going through my intensives or getting extracts out of my books and so forth, and having astrology readings done by me. And so I want to help you to also grow and reach and stretch to become more of who you really are. And so that's what we're going to be looking at in your horoscope for you now. What I'm going to be doing for you now, Libra, is telling you a few things about yourself, about your personality and how you relate to the events and conditions in your life, and how you relate to those that you have relationships with in a variety of different ways. And then I'm going to look at the movement of Saturn and Jupiter and Mars for you. Now, with this description of your personality and so forth, I want you to understand that it's a lifetime situation that I'm giving you. So a lot of the things that I talk about can be for the past and therefore not a part of your life anymore. But a lot can be for the future and therefore difficult to relate to. So maintain an open mind towards the things that I talk about, understanding that if it doesn't fit you now, it could possibly fit you in the future. And also understand that it's a very limited viewpoint that I have in front of me. I'm only working on your sun sign, Libra, and that is on the cusp of your first house. And then there's the subsequent 11 houses and the different signs on each of those. So that means that you relate differently to your personal interests than the average person who was of a different sign. And the same with your finances and dealings with relatives and things like that. So I'll cover all those things for you and give you a rundown on the way that you relate to the events and conditions in your life, understanding that it's a lifetime situation and it's a limited perspective. I can do a lot more for you with horoscopes number 2 and 3, and many times I'm happy to do horoscope number 2 free of charge, which is normally $20. Now I'm going to be then looking at the movements of Saturn and Jupiter and Mars in your horoscope by transit. So just sit back and relax, Libra, and we'll see what we can come up with as far as you're concerned. You're a very loving person. You're ruled by Venus, so you're a good-looking person. But there's a lot of duality in your nature too. You sometimes find difficulty making decisions in life with your personal initiatives and interests. You love music and artistic things. You live for other people. You love friendships and relationships, and that can be relationships with people that you work with as well, and relationships with neighbours, and relationships with friends, and relationships with people in business, and relationships with family members, and then there's romantic relationships, and also relationships with partners and spouse and so on and so forth. But you do really live for other people, and you love relationships, and you love people. You love getting out and about amongst the general public. You feel a part of the general public, and you're very creative in your nature, very communicative in your nature, and very affectionate in your nature, being Venus ruled. Now, as far as finances are concerned, Libra, you do have a lot of deep thinking about financial planning and so forth. There's quite a lot of mystery surrounding your finances, and there can be some intensity within yourself to do with financial matters. As far as taxation matters are concerned, there's perhaps been a bit of a run-in with the taxation department at some time in life. Maybe you haven't kept proper records or something like that. Maybe there's some intrigue or mystery surrounding your financial matters. But you do spend a lot of time internally introspecting and reflecting upon how can you improve your finances and how can you stabilise your finances. You do like your finances to be very fixed and set and organised and planned. Now, you're very frank, straightforward and to the point. You call a spade a spade. You love driving into the country and seeing all the beauties of nature, especially the mountains and the trees. And you drive a motor vehicle generally, which will be manufactured overseas. You have relatives who live distantly from you, perhaps interstate or overseas. And you do have quite strong views on politics and religion, quite feasibly. So you're all the time sensing duality in your nature, as if there's interests in politics and religion on one side, and completely different interests that you share with relatives and neighbours and those that are in your immediate circle of influence. As far as the home environment is concerned, and the family and the domestic side of life, quite often in the later part of life you'll live in solitude, and many times you do enjoy solitude in the home. So you do like to, even if you have family members around you and so forth in the home and the family side of things, you still like to have that downtime and that sense of you want to be off and by yourself and enjoying that solitude and so forth. There may have been the early death of one of your parents and some unhappiness or a lingering illness involving one of your parents, perhaps a breakup between your parents, or there's some unhappiness there and instability in your family environment, and delays with regard to things coming to conclusion that are tied up with family and property matters and so forth. There can be delays with regard to changes of residence, and you could work from home at some time in life or bring a lot of work home to do at home, and there's quite often a sense of unhappiness somehow associated with family and domestic matters sometime in your life. Now, you seem to go in for unusual hobbies and interests and recreational activities. You can be a little bit kinky with regard to sexual interests, and also kinky as far as the social side of life is concerned. You like anything that's out of the ordinary, and you seem to enjoy communication. You love going out to clubs and group social functions, and you do have particular interests in the artistic and creative side of life that's quite out on a limb. You like being different, and you like being having interests in the social side of life and the artistic and creative side of your life. You like being on a tangent, what you might say, compared with the average person. Now, you do have a lot of worries about health and dietary matters. There's a bit of intrigue when it comes to the job, and you can get involved in a secret romantic attachment. There can be with somebody that you work with, or there can be some secrets involving those that you work with. There's some of the co-workers perhaps confide in you, and you could confide in them, and then they betray that trust, and there's a lot of secret worries there, as if sometimes hidden enemies are connected there with the job. Now, you do jump into a hasty relationship early in life, and perhaps with a spouse or a partner who wears a uniform or a dust coat or overalls in their job, and they can turn out to be quite a dominant person and quite manipulative and controlling, and this is something that you don't like, and so you end up coming out of the relationship to develop your maturity a lot more by yourself, sort of thing. But you do jump into a few hasty relationships from time to time, and that'll do as far as your lifetime situation is concerned. Remember, that's a limited amount of information that I have in front of me. I'm just dealing with those particular things that I mentioned earlier. Now let's look, Libra, at the movement of Saturn and Jupiter and Mars in your life currently in 2013 and also in 2014. Now Saturn, Libra, is currently in the second house of your horoscope during the whole of 2013 and also 2014. Now Saturn in the second house of finances is meaning you're going to experience quite a lot of frustrations with regard to money matters in 2013 and 2014. So, I mean, Saturn is basically saying to you that all of your misdeeds and misuse and miscalculations and bad judgment with regard to money matters in the past are all coming home to roost for you in 2013 and 2014, and you've got to get your finances in order. You've got to realise that there's been a misuse of energy and a misuse of time in terms of your planning and your structure of your finances and decisions and choices that you've made that revolve around purchases and things like that. So this is all coming home to roost now, and you've got to be very practical and down to earth and get yourself into gear and under control as far as planning things out very carefully from here on, especially in 2013 and 2014 with regard to your money matters. You've got to keep proper records and things like that. You've got to be very careful and wise with regard to decisions and choices that you make about investments and financial decisions and purchases and expenditures and things like that. So you've got to take on board what Saturn is trying to tell you during 2013 and 2014, and you'll get through that with a minimum of difficulty if you take that on board and be very practical and be very shrewd and wise with regard to all financial decisions, and then you can get on with the job of accumulating wealth and doing quite well with regard to investments, as long as they're practically well thought out and planned and so on and so forth. Now, as far as Jupiter is concerned, Libra, you have got Jupiter currently is sitting in your 9th house. Now, with Jupiter in the 9th house, for the whole of 2013, it means that you have got a tremendous opportunity to expand your understanding. There's very good stars for you during 2013 for travel. It's very good for you through in-laws. It's very good for you for taking on extra courses of study and research and investigation. There's a tremendous urge within yourself during 2013 to travel. To travel, if not physically, travel in the mind, and to expand your understanding about deep subjects through research and investigation and so on and so forth. So any sort of college courses, any sort of additional courses to improve yourself and to expand your understanding and your capabilities, 2013 is a good time for you to do so. It's a good time for you for travel. It's a favourable year for you as far as any legal matters are concerned and court cases and things like that. So that's a good time for you to be able to plan along these lines. Religious matters and spiritual matters can expand in some way for you during 2013. Now 2014, Libra, is a ripper of a year for you as far as business and career is concerned. You'll find that 2014 will see great opportunities for you to improve yourself in your career, improve yourself in your business if you're in business, but your highest ambitions, whatever they are, career or business, are going to find a guardian angel is looking after you, and things are expanding and opportunities are opening up for you to expand in business and expand in your career and expand in your highest goals and achievements, whatever they may be. Honour, respect and so forth in the community is yours in 2014. It's a very good year for you to do with business expansion, career expansion. Now, as far as your dealings with business and career, it could see you travelling. There could be an opportunity for you to travel interstate or overseas in this period, 2014. And it's also very favourable in your dealings with parents. So a parent could travel, you could travel with a parent, or a parent could travel to visit you. So there's a lot of happiness through parents, and relationships can form through your career and business activities during 2014. So it's a very good year for you, 2014, as far as your career and business is concerned, all dealings with parents, and it's very favourable too for dealings with government departments. So if there's anything that's hanging around, or you want some advice, or you want some something improved in regard to your growth and expansion in your career and business, and you need some sort of thing from the government department or something like that, then that's a very good time for you to be able to do so. Now, as far as Mars is concerned, Libra, you've got Mars sitting in your first house of your horoscope for the first 6 months of 2014. Now, Mars usually takes only 6 weeks to transit through a particular house of the horoscope, but in your case it's sitting stationary in the first house of your horoscope for the whole of the first 6 months of 2014. Now, Mars in the first house is going to make you impulsive. You're going to have a tendency to be aggressive and to be assertive and dominant and argumentative, so you've got to calm that aspect of your nature down. Don't make decisions and choices that are based on impulse, and think things carefully through, and realise that there'll be a tendency for you in the first 6 months of 2014 to have a lot of stress and tensions surrounding you. Headaches can come from that stress and tension. You've got to try and practice relaxation a lot more, and try not to make hasty decisions that are not well thought out, that are based on impulse. And you should be able to get through that first 6 months with a minimum of difficulty. You can actually tap in and use those energies wisely to get projects started and to get things going in your life. And that about sees you out as far as these cycles are concerned. But stick around, because there's a few more things that I want to say to you now in order to wrap it up and to state where do you go from here, Libra. Well, now that I've gone through all of that area of your houses where the planets have been sitting and everything, where to go from here? Just a little bit of an epilogue here to help you to understand how you can go on with the job now that you've been exposed to this type of understanding and expanded your understanding a little bit further. I want to help you to become more of who you really are, and to take full advantage of the science of astrology and the science of meditation. Meditation is a wonderful science, and by practicing meditation you can keep yourself youthful, and you can program to all the events of your life to occur more in accordance and compliance with your will, your conscious choice, more so than your subconscious will or your subconscious choice. And these events happen in your life most of the time by subconscious choices, according to your attitudes and beliefs and your thoughts and your feelings and your decisions and your choices. They're your raw materials, and you bring those raw materials into events and conditions in your life through your desire, your imagination and your expectation. Well, I want to help you to clean out those emotions and to clarify your thinking so that your beliefs and your attitudes are not your enemies and not creating negativities in your life. So therefore, I'm going to be sending you some printed pages of my out of my book, What Really Matters, which covers the science of meditation and reincarnation and astrology, and in simple terms that you'll be able to relate to. And you can read them if you wish, and you can then also become more of who you really are by getting the audio version of my book and listening to that and over and over again, getting that sort of knowledge and understanding into yourself. And I'm happy to do a lot of work for you also by doing your horoscope number 2. If you're keen to learn, I'm happy to do your horoscope number 2, which is normally $20. I'm happy to do that for you free of charge. So I'm happy to help you and encourage you to expand your consciousness. My material will lead you into deeper understanding about yourself and about how you can become more of who you really are, and how you can create your reality more in accordance and compliance with your conscious choice and your conscious will, and become more financially independent, more successful in your work, happier in relationships, and so on and so forth. So I thank you for your attentiveness here, and I look forward to working further with you should you desire to go on into my teachings and become more of the giant that you truly are. God and Goddess love you and know your name, and they want you to become more of who you really are. Thank you.